liver, chicken diver.
Yes, indeed. Hey, you want to know what my date night's going to be this weekend?
What's that?
Got a date night. We got some killer plans. Get my parents to watch kids, and I then we're gonna go downtown, which is fucking great because I have a, a designated driver because she's pregnant, which is awesome. And it just so happens to be that in that same area on Saturday is a pride parade. So we're going to go commit some hate crimes.
Oh, yeah. You going to chop up the flag?
No, we're probably just going to chuckle a little bit and see if we can find any dildos or anything like that.
Well, you heard those kids are under arrest for chopping up a flag.
Yeah. It was an American flag, right?
No, it was a...
What?
It was a pride flag.
I don't know. Did it belong to someone else?
Yeah, I don't know. There was a... It was up in the air if it was one of those city flags or if it belonged to the bar. But
oh well, I mean, it's not their flag. If they fuck it up, I guess.
I guess they were saying they were going to charge it as a hate crime, and they went after the parents too.
That is retarded. That okay. All right, I was almost on your side, gays. For the first time in like 10 fucking years, I was almost on your side.
Where did that happen?
I think it's Pennsylvania. Kids charged for hate crime for chopping up flag. It's so. I had a.
So what's the crime? Like I said, I guess if it wasn't their flag,
it's destruction of property. But
that'd be like $20 thing. I mean, I totally. Just like I don't want to wave down any of the rioters on any of the streets for breaking people's stuff.
Were they mostly peaceful while they did it? Like,
I was gonna call this mostly peaceful bombings. Like, if you think about it, it was like a 36-hour round trip for the bombers. So those were mostly peaceful bombers.
Oh yeah.
Nearly every single
minutes
hour
bombing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's way more than 7%. Isn't that what the mostly peaceful protest said?
Is that what it is? I don't know.
I thought it was.
I've seen a lot of those videos over the last few years of the guy. What was it? Oh, those guys that'll like go to the pride, like the pride. Yeah, those things. They'll go to those crosswalks and just
where they skid on them,
burn rubber on them.
Oh, it was Atlanta. That's what it was.
And a 3-minute juvenile could face hate crime charges after they pulled down a pride flag, cut them up at an intersection known as the LGBTQ community. Police say the guy calls at 1:40 a.m. Tuesday morning that 6 males were causing a disturbance near the corner, blah, 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 an intersection of the city's Midtown neighborhood that is painted with rainbow crosswalks to honor the importance of Atlanta's LGBTQ community. The men... Maybe you're wrong, Flip. Maybe that is the most interesting part about them.
I
think I've said that 2 years in a row when you posted that. I think you vastly overestimate how interesting I am.
I wonder, so if I put on a wig and just did a really exaggerated swishy gay walk on one of those, would that be a hate crime? Because I'm making fun of them, but...
Well, they wouldn't know if you were making fun of them.
But do they know that a swishy gay walk is satirical? How can they tell?
No, that you cannot.
You have to read your heart. Judges can read your heart.
With 10-foot tall linebacker built trannies, you cannot tell satire. It's just impossible.
Yeah, that's true.
Makia cleanliness. Yeah, that took me a second. Dragon Biscuit notice that.
Yeah, Christopher hasn't been this happy with one of my names since pediatric psychedeletician or something.
I triangulated around the word Kirk, Captain Charlie Kirk Cameron.
I know, I like it.
Came up with that last second because I was going to just put, doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Like the Iranians and the Israelis, according to Trump. Ready for Women War I?
Yeah.
Is that referring to something specific or you just want it to happen?
I think you were saying that like somebody complained when like somebody in the administration talked about our boys flying the bombers, and
Oh yeah,
some journalist made a complaint about like women can do it too. It's like, yeah, okay. Like,
yeah, instead of worrying about any sorts of bombs and wars and stuff, let's worry about how we talk about the bombers.
yeah. Well, I just like because I mean, when there was a chance that Kamala Harris can win, and everybody's like, this country's ready for a female leader," and I'm like, yeah, she could be the first black woman of color to order a drone strike on a Yemeni wedding party. It's such an important step for women.
It's so funny, like those.
That's also my favorite part of that is that it's a stupid thing to complain about. It's not just our boys. That like there were women that are trained for it too, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to bite, but I'm going to bite here for a second. Let's look at the people. It's not like it's probably public knowledge who flew the planes, but I would bet real big money that there were 0 women flying the planes that bombed Iran.
Yeah. I'm gonna bet that too, but what do I know? There was women in Top Gun, so maybe that's not true. Although I don't think any of the women were any of the main flyers in Top Gun. Did you guys watch that whole thing?
Yeah.
From Mike Benz about how it's mysteriously the exact plot of Top Gun 2. Like exact. And you're like, whoa.
Except they used B-2s.
Oh yeah, it was, and they had to like fly out of the canyon and make that all exciting or something like that. But double dropping bombs on a nuclear plant that is being created to attack our allies. That was all there.
Yep.
And
through
the
small vent.
Double bombing through a small vent, precise, all that stuff. Like what? But I don't know. I think it's funny. So I guess we're already on this topic anyway, although it might be the main topic at all. But all the back and forth about was it obliterated or not?
Yeah.
I feel like so much of this stuff is like fog of war. There's so much fog of war, and you honestly can't know what it is.
Scott Adams had the best take on that, and he's just like, "Do you think we would fucking be able to tell? Like it's rubble right now. If one of their centrifuges is somehow still working, how the fuck would we know?"
Well, then there's just so much of fog of war as was it the right thing or the wrong thing, and I feel in general that like at least at first in the first 12, 24 hours you can't go saying that. Maybe a couple days later you can start getting a feel for it, but people just immediately saying it. I mean, I was laughing. I was just thinking about this before because the narrative's gone back and forth so many times. Like, he started World War III. Look, he didn't. You owe us an apology. And stop and think about everybody who told you this would be World War III. And the other side is saying, I want you to stop and think about everybody who told you that this wouldn't be World War III. Stop and each one of them like, stop and think. I'm like, well, I got to see what happens. But to me, it feels like such a coin flip that either side of you, I can't be like, we're the ones who got it right and you can trust. I think you're just like playing on a coin flip right here. Like, you remember that thing they used to say about people who became like top broker, people who gave advice for brokerage stuff. It was just 50-50, and it was just like survivors, like the people who got dumb lucky were the ones you could say it about. Like, I genuinely feel like as if these guys were coaches of a poker game and they played a poker hand that was a 50-50 coin toss flip, and then when it comes up one way, the coach goes up to him. There's two coaches competing for the same guy. He goes up to him and goes, I want you to really think about what he told you to do on that last play and really think about who got it wrong and who got it right.
That's meta gambling.
It was an exact 50-50 coin flip. Like, what are you talking about? Who got it wrong and who got it right? And getting all, I think I should be judgmental of both of you coming at me like this, thinking I need to make all the decisions on the rest of my life on something that people didn't know the answer of.
I think the smartest retard in all this was Steven Crowder, because like Forrest is saying, huge win for Team Ben, huge loss for Team Tucker, Candace, and Dave. And I think Crowder played it the smartest in like the dumbest way possible, because he was like, I don't know how I feel about this bombing Israel thing. I don't know about this bombing Israel thing. And then I listened to him today a little bit, just saw a clip of his come up, and he's sitting there fucking moralizing to the people who were totally against it. He set himself up perfectly so that either way it went. Because, like, if we were in World War III right now, he'd be like, I want you guys to think about this. Those of you who were gung ho for this. I
Yeah.
thought it could go either way. I know that, but like, you guys were all gung ho. But nope, he had that fucking lectury tone. I can't believe these people were such naysayers. I was a little skeptical, but
I disagree with Forrest there too. Also, not only because I do think that Tucker, Candace, and Dave were wrong that it was going to turn into World War III overnight, but Dave Smith does make the point to that of like, well, then these guys weren't the maniacs that you were telling us they were, you know. But
yeah,
what I disagree with is that Shapiro's happy. Like Shapiro's like Mark Levin here. Like they want to go full regime change, and Trump backed off of it and just said it's just going to be a precision bombing and that's it.
you know, Shapiro did not spurg out as much as I thought he would about
Really?
like right after I saw Trump, say like the whole they don't know what the fuck they're doing. I was like, oh my god, I gotta watch Ben Shapiro. I gotta, because he's gonna be so fucking mad at that. But he kind of just played it off. He's been it was
He's
funny
not gung ho because this guy, Mark Levin, said he wanted an investigation of JD Vance because JD Vance said, "Okay, let's back off now. We need to investigate this guy."
Mark Levin has the like most pathetic cuck boner for Israel. Like, it's so embarrassing. He's the one that tweeted out that thing. I think I read it last week where he's like, there's the reason I didn't wash my hands after I shook hands with Netanyahu until I could touch my children's head.
I can't believe it.
I was like, you pathetic cuck.
Real.
I don't
That's
care.
weird.
I don't care who you're
Well,
talking about.
this guy is like he is like the South Park cousin who is the embarrassing the embarrassing stereotype that like if you didn't exist this would be easier for the Israelis. It would be like maybe he's a psyop for the other side of just being
It could be like I don't know, John Frusciante. It could be like my favorite guitarist in the whole world. And if you said that about them, I'm like, God, fag, what are you talking about? Ugh. Ben was the funniest though. Shapiro was the funniest because every single time somebody tries to claim that Trump is playing 4D chess, he talks about how stupid that is. And then this whole last couple weeks,
has been 40 chess.
Trump is playing this absolutely brilliantly. He is allowing Israel to be the bad guy while America's being the good guy, the standoffish guy. This is, I know I say he doesn't do 4D chess a lot, but he is doing 4D chess here. Okay, buddy.
Yeah.
I actually agree with Sargon's takes on this stuff, and I'm gonna liken it back to poker again too. I think it even likens to sports, just in the sense of he uses that term of thymotic, drawing off of Francis Fukuyama's book, but it all goes back to ancient Rome stuff. And what it ultimately says is it's non-ideology. It's non-ideology. It's non-40 chess. It's gut. It's what's your gut tell you here? What's your gut tell you here? What's your gut tell you here? And when it gets down to that moment of just time to make decisions now, it's not let's check the principles of the handbook of the ideology. It's what does my gut tell me? What's my gut tell me? And that's the term of thymotic ruling that Sargon's been on about, drawing back to Francis Fukuyama, who described in his end of history stuff that we were going to be getting away from those types of rulers entirely. And Sargon is saying that, no, I think this is Trump just being the guy in the seat, and the guy who's the leader in the seat just making his gut decisions on these things like, oh, I don't like those bombs. Well, let's do this and going for it. And maybe that is the best action sometimes, which if you ever play poker, you learn sometimes that you got to get out of your head and sometimes just be that way, you know? But I don't know, maybe it's 5D chess. Do I think it's luck? No, that's not luck. The thymotic is just going off like you have all of your information as it is, and you're not like going through some like 4D chess rule book and doing something. You're saying like, nah, I think we got to go for it. I think this looks bad. And it's the same decision you make when you're coming up on a wreckage of something and you're driving your car and like, which direction do I go or something like that. And you have years of planning and learning how to drive and all that sorts of stuff. It's just when it comes down to the moment, it's not some uber pre-planned supersonic whatever thing.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's I don't think it's luck either. Like I tentatively think it might have been a good move. Here's my difficulty in this is like I'm on board with the whole Iran probably shouldn't have a nuke. Probably definitely shouldn't have a nuke. The difficult part of that is that I'll never know how close. So I'm completely at the mercy of like the two, not the two least trustworthy, but two of the least trustworthy governments that I know of, America and Israel. And to be like, I guess because if they're telling the truth, then we're saving the world. If they're lying, then we're bombing an innocent country. Of course, the innocent country is chanting death to Israel, death to America. And as Glenn Greenwald says, they're not really like that despite what they chant. And that sounded retarded to me.
Yeah, no, like that's pretty stupid. I mean, is anybody contesting that they are like the world's leading sponsor of terrorism?
He didn't really.
Yeah, people try to wave that away. Some of the people on that libertarian stuff, they say, well, who's ever really proved that they're actually sponsoring that? And I believe that they do sponsor that stuff, but those guys try to get nitty gritty.
Stupid.
Well, Greenwald always like tries to. He tries to be like, but you have to understand where they're coming from.
He says okay. It's fine for them to sponsor some of that proxy.
No, he always says, I'm not trying to justify it, but like from their perspective, you might do some really shitty things too.
Oh, sure.
I think that's pretty much what he's trying to say.
But that doesn't mean that you don't get bombed for the shitty things.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're still gonna get bombed.
Like, from my perspective, you have to understand that this is why I punched you from the face. Like, when I see it in your perspective.
Yeah, if some guy's kicking the shit out of you, you can't like take the time down there to think, well, if his motives are pure, I can't stop him from doing this.
Yeah. So to go back to like the thing that Trump's going off of, like when it comes down to Iran can't have nukes, one of the big arguments of all these people is like, how dire is this exact moment? You got to go right now. Is like, is it the South Park thing? Like, it's coming right for us, or you just like screaming, it's coming right for us, and they're nowhere near that right now. Why right this second? And that's one of the things where I say that's the thymotic decision. It's not like going off of luck. It's going off like your gut and like what's the right choice at the right time. And Trump's pretty good at that. I wouldn't say always great at that or something, but
well, I'd say kind of a thing he might have been trying to do was, I don't know, show his balls to the world, because it's like it does feel like the past, I don't know, several presidents with Iran have been like, you better not do that. Like Obama gave him that shitty deal, like, don't do it.
Well, so some of those people on
you got that clip of Hillary Clinton talking about how
she was going to bomb Iran. Yeah, if it was Hillary Clinton, like say Trump jumped the gun, if it was Hillary Clinton in there, we would have bombed them by 2017 easy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've got that somewhere. Hold on. But which just cracks me up with all this stuff. I mean, I guess Biden didn't, but I don't know what Biden's. I don't even really understand what Biden's administration was doing with Israel at all. I mean, it's like they were just kind of like dogs lying on their back. I mean, do you guys have any recollection of how they really handled anything? They're just
how Biden handled Israel?
Yeah, like what was going on from October 7th on? They were just kind of like sitting there like, but I don't even think that Biden was making so many decisions. So like, what was his administration doing there?
I don't know. Really know. The whole Biden situation is getting fucking wacky, because when I first heard about the whole auto pin thing, I was like, hey, you guys are being a little bit weird about this. But then you learn about how utterly dilapidated he was and how like constantly he used that fucking auto pin when like previous administrations would use it if the president needed to urgently sign something and he was like flying on a plane nowhere near or something. I don't know. Like, and he would have to get specific authorization, and like the behind the scenes of it are like somebody from the admin would call to Biden, and like one of his close confidants would answer, like his wife or something. But oh yeah, sure, sign that. That's what it's sounding like.
Yeah. I don't know, honestly, like what I don't know what they were doing. But the Biden administration freaked me out, but it just freaked me out because it felt like what Mike Benz calls like the blob. Like it's like the blob is doing everything, and I have no idea what that weird old dead guy's head at the top of it is doing. It's just sitting there kind of going, "Rrr, rrr, rrr," and I have no clue like really what they were really doing in Israel. Right, they're just kind of leaving it be. Although some of those guys, as I was saying, over on the Dave Smith kind of like academic agent side of stuff, were saying things like they thought that Israel was popping off, and so Trump, to save face, acted like it was all his idea. And I don't know how they would go around making that claim. You know what I mean? I think that's just like too much of like trying to read stuff behind the scenes that you can't really follow. One of my favorite things, but this goes with all the fog war stuff, is somebody put out, my position is I 100% don't know what's going on, and neither do you. And I think that's really ultimately true, which brings us back to that thing that Aaron McIntyre was talking about, the Baudrillard's book on the Gulf War never really took place. Wrote a whole book on it. So a bunch of people now after this are coming out and saying Iran and Israel never really took place.
He's part of the woke right, so I don't trust him.
Oh no! Did you see James Lindsay got taken to task on the woke right by Brett
Weinstein? Yeah, I saw. I didn't see the whole thing.
See that.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, he's being polite with them, and he's saying, I think there's something there, but you're just kind of machine gunning it. That's exactly what I was saying, really.
Well, it got almost embarrassing for James, because when they were kind of grilling him, and not like they really weren't being dicks. It's just Weinstein called it an intervention.
Yeah,
and that's actually what it felt like it was, and it felt like it came from like a place of love.
Yeah, it did.
And
Mike Nana is the guy who filmed the documentary on the grievance.
Oh, really? Well, because he was grilling James on it, like trying to figure out what the woke right is, and he kept being so vague and like going off on tangents, but they kind of nailed him down on it. It seemed like it was people who, like, he called Dave Smith woke right, and they're like, how do you square that? And he's like, he kind of tried to backtrack and be like, I didn't really know Dave Smith that well. I just saw somebody who was attacking me or something like that. And it felt like the woke right. So
I could maybe sort that out a little bit, but like there's strange little things that are very similar between certain type of theoretical libertarianism and woke right. Like I bring up a bunch Hans Hermann Hoppe. If you look up Hans Hermann Hoppe, he makes kind of the economic argument for monarchy. And then if you go back to the Juvenal, who is the woke right guy, and also the guy who kind of was the original person kind of putting together the ideas of fascism back in Italy, if you compare the Juvenal and Hans Hermann Hoppe, it's really similar. It's just Hans Hermann Hoppe is making an economic argument for it. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know. I guess like maybe a similarity between a staunch libertarian and a staunch wokey would be like just pure, complete, rigid deontology. Like like they can't. There are the consequences don't matter. So like I'm libertarian. I believe that all drugs should be legalized. And if I show you a place where all drugs were legalized and the consequences were terrible, you'd say, well, then things are supposed to be terrible because we need freedom. And that this is a deontological rule. And you could find the same with, you see the same with wokies on just about every position.
Yeah. But it truly is a different thing. Like and that's why it was bad for James to just fire hose it out to people. And in the middle of that thing, they were talking about how he doesn't like when people fire hose claims out to him. Like, but you are firing hose and people, uncareful claims out to other people on this situation. And the deal is like, I get, especially like when it comes down to Israel, it almost does seem like there's kind of two sides there, but it's a bunch of different angles. Like Dave Smith's angle is different than Nick Fuentes' angle. You know, it's and we talked about that before. Let's listen to Hillary Clinton.
And I want the Iranians to know that if I'm the president, we will attack Iran. We will attack Iran. We will attack Iran. We will attack Iran. Whatever stage of development they might be in their nuclear weapons program in the next 10 years, during which they might foolishly consider launching an attack on Israel, we would be able to totally obliterate them, obliterate them, obliterate them.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
I would like Risto pointed out earlier that like he thought when we were asking about Biden, he's like, I think he was in a rock and a hard place, between a rock and a hard place, in supporting Israel versus supporting his voter base.
That's
because
right.
It really was
pro Gaza.
Yeah, it really was this last year where the left really went. I'd say you're. I don't know what the percentages are, but I'd say it's probably turning to the point where most average lefties are leaning away from Israel. But I don't know that because that felt like a constraint for Kamala Harris with a few different things. Like she was paralyzed anytime she would try to speak. I have faith she could be a real person if they would let her, but like talking about Israel, she couldn't really talk about it at all because she knows she'd piss off her base. Talking about like the trans stuff, she found out. I mean, there's estimates that Kamala is for they, them, Trump is for you ad was like the most successful political ad of all time. And so like, what do you do? It's a losing issue. There were so many things that they were so gung-ho on that became losing issues overnight. Immigration, trans stuff, even to a lesser degree, Israel. So they just can't talk about them because they'll piss off both of their base.
Yeah. One of the...
Unless you're running in New York.
Yeah, exactly. God. That's what I was going to bring up. But strangely enough, I've seen one or two of these people that some are calling woke right-ish, or James Lindsay might have, who are saying they're on board with that New York mayor because they're not part of that liberal world order.
Oh, well, like,
so you're on board with the world's worst, like, gay Muslim communist for New York? Like, I don't know.
Jesus Christ, that's insane. I'm like, leading up to this, I was like, man, if you'd have told me that in 2024 I'd be pulling for Andrew Cuomo to be the mayor of New York, I'd be like, he just killed a bunch of old people. Fuck off.
Yeah, and I do not like Cuomo either, but yeah,
he's a piece of shit.
I cannot believe that either. But they're not wrong that order, like that really is like the Nancy Pelosi's of the world and all that stuff. But things can get worse. I think that's one of Peterson's always stuff. Like,
well, I know. What are they?
Never forget. It can always get way worse too.
Are these bastards just like accelerationists or something? Fuck it, burn New York down. We'll build it back up.
Yeah, that's basically what they are. Yeah, I mean, Tim Pool was saying that. He was saying, "I'm happy. Let them get what they want." And somebody else pointed out to him, like, "Tim, you're from Chicago. Like, it never completely burns down. They just go from worse to worse to worse to worse to worse."
Rock bottom is a decision, man. And you guys should have hit that 3 mayors ago.
No doubt. This guy's got a weird.
Is not a real person. Zoran Momdami feels like he was written by J.K. Rowling. Zoran Momdami feels like he was written by Ayn Rand. He feels like an Ayn Rand online character. Demonstrates the principles of socialism to boomers. He is the archetypal, overachieving, perceivably foreign social striver who became American all of 7 years ago. And he ascends to political power by utilizing identitarianism and the promises of redistribution. Mrs. Rand, is that you? Yeah, the promises of redistribution. Which again feels like an incredible straw man to say out loud, but he's doing the thing. He's doing the hecking thing. And in a very real, very populist, very Trumpian kind of way, he goes around to disaffected communities, migrant communities, second-generation communities, and says, hey, if you grab political power, I will take things from people who did not vote for me, and I will redistribute them to you. And on that basis, on that foundation...
He literally just said that he's going to try to tax white districts higher.
I'm a little embarrassed I hadn't noticed it before. He's totally right. He seems like an Ayn Rand character. He
He
seriously does.
Everything's just turning into once again, we're back to kayfabe, and everything's the hyper reality, the Bogiardi and hyper reality. Like, look at Trump. Like, how is Trump not the actual walking cartoon character of everything the left hates about America? Like, how is he not just exactly that? And now we've got the cartoon character coming into the mayor. Like, everything is WWE wrestling. Like, it's just kayfabe, man. Everybody's too much of the extreme thing that we think they are. Like, what the hell?
It is kayfabe. He even tried crying on stage.
Yeah. And then we have these other, like, the falsifications without any, all these different women, like the lady going out saying stuff that Trump like highlighted, saying that she wanted like all the opinions. He calls it, she's low IQ. And I'm like, man, this really feels like 80s WWE wrestling promos. Every ounce of all of it. Trump, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. I can't even believe the political world we're in now. But
That's awesome. Remember when Biden accidentally slipped an F-bomb when Obamacare was passed? And it was a big deal.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that all went out the window when Megyn Kelly was like, Mr. Trump, you've referred to women you don't like as ugly and dog face. Only Rosie O'Donnell.
So this is one of the reasons I like Trump and back Trump. It's all game theory. It's game theory stuff. He does the game theory, which is carry a big stick, play fair. If somebody punches you, punch back hard, forgive. That's optimal game theory. If you look up any sort of optimal game theory, that's always the thing. You play fair, get punched, punch back hard, forgive. That's just optimal, and that's Trump. And I really appreciated when he's like, okay, I'm bombing the shit out of them, and then he bombed out shit and it's like, okay, peace. It's like exactly like the game theory things, even though it's like in a thing.
Even compliments them.
Yeah,
I know.
compliments them and says we can do it, and then they pop off and continue their shooting past the ceasefire, and then he curses at them, these fuckers. Like, the second he was barking at him, I was like, okay, it's not the same thing as George W. Bush. He really is doing the game theory thing or trying to do it.
Yeah, well, and that's what happened with Zelensky too. Like, he just met with Zelensky again and just said he was as nice as could be. Like he had a like. It is weird how easy it is to apologize to Trump. He's not quite as narcissistic as he seems.
He forgives as fast as game theory tells you to forgive. Very next round, punch. Very next round, forgive. Like, we're starting again. I'll give you a chance now. And that's exact game. Like, look it up. Look up optimal game theory. That's what it is, and that's all he's ever been.
Of racialized resource redistribution. I will maintain political power in perpetuity. Was Fox News right the entire time? Were boomers right the entire time?
Oh,
I don't want boomers to be right about things. Like when I made fun of them in high school for the slippery slope argument. No,
man. Yeah, I sneered at the slippery slope myself, and I stand embarrassed today. Slippery slope's batting 100. Democrats discover innovative strategy of promising free stuff to stupid people. Yeah, this guy is so goofy, but I don't know.
He's got some sick beats though.
Yeah, that's right. He did do rap. Did you guys watch the video of his fake accent?
Yes.
Where is? Let me see if I can pull that one up here. Oh, where did it go? Oh, and then we got to listen to Greenwald's accent. Yeah.
Yeah.
That seriously sounded like identical to like the exaggerated American accent that I would do as a joke to make my companions laugh. Venka, oji mi dar uma bebida, por favor.
I could tell. I could just tell 100%. I mean, I guess I'll pull that one up first while we're.
You said that. You're like, this is a shitty accent, isn't it?
He's talking about bombs and things going off and maybe war. This is in the middle of the war stuff, and I just can't get past. The accent. Why is that being that way? Are you hearing it?
We heard it. We just couldn't see.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know why it's. Hoji Pajir Kiris. Hoji Pajir Kiris. What's Pajir? That cannot be.
Ask.
Yeah.
Request.
Why
Can
is
you
it-
can you request the dogs to stop barking?
Yeah, can you ask him to leave?
Is that what it is?
Yeah. It's
Look at
hard to
this.
tell because his accent is so
Yeah.
bad.
His accent's bad and the dogs are barking, but yeah,
Something's
he's
really
just saying.
going weird with the StreamYard here, but I think it's on repeat though, so I'll just play it because it's got the. You hearing it?
Yeah.
It's gonna repeat. Is that even bad? The name?
I mean, that's not how you would pronounce it.
It's pretty bad. I mean,
Like
because even
Cordozo.
yeah, the ooh thing is weird.
That's
But
hard
even if
for.
you just say ooh and not ooh,
Yeah,
but-
it's,
The idea is always that Iran can have.
I think he censored out that part of his videos. Why? So
And even though they're an oil rich country, they still want new.
anyway, Hoji Pajir Kiris. Hoji Pajir Kiris are those the weirds?
I couldn't
I
quite
can't
tell
tell-
what he was saying.
I can
'cause
after Pajir, it's hard to tell because the dogs are barking. But
but yeah, that O at the end of words is like a ooh. It's not like an ooh though. Like
ooh, it's
Like,
if you
it's not
say
like-
ooh, but pull your tongue to the back of your mouth.
Yeah.
It's ooh.
Cardozo.
Yeah, Risto says pragmatic forgiveness. I mean, maybe that's why the Christian religion was always the one that survived over time too, because it's game theory that you must forgive and forgive your enemies, and that's really the way stuff has to go. But part of game theory is if you get cheated, you got to punch back. You got to punish, punish, forgive, immediately forgive, and on to infinity that way. Troy and Jonathan did a long, good episode on the game theory, and they even got to that point where it gets a little bit more complex when there's more actors and stuff and all that sort of deal. But Hoji Pajir Kiris, Hoji. I used to joke. I mean, that's why I started doing like the George W. Bush impersonation in Spanish. But I had my companion, the one with the facsimile tattoo on his back. He was Louisiana. He's got a good accent today, but his first year in the mission, yo quiero decirle que yo soy aquí en la misión. Because he does have like a little bit of a Louisiana accent for real.
Preciso tomar una aguinha.
Edward.
Un momento.
I worked with a guy when I was a kid, that Ross the boss, moving furniture, and he was like in Southeast Idaho farm boy who went to Brazil. And the thing we always remember is saying, "Precisa fazer xixi."
I don't even know what you're saying, but I can just hear it.
I need to piss.
No, it's like, do you need to pee? Like, you know, like everywhere we're going,
Oh,
like,
precisa.
we'll
I
say
love the way
precisa
that sounded.
fazer xixi.
I could never laugh. I could never not laugh when I heard somebody say that because you translate it literally. It's like, I need to make pee.
Yeah.
Well,
You
that's
need
how
to
they
do
say
a
it.
pee.
Yeah. Well, in Spanish, they'll use a reflexive verb where it's like piss myself almost. Tengo que mearme. Like I'm going to piss myself.
It makes me think.
I
think
need.
of-
Yeah, that is.
It makes me think of. I think I've mentioned it on here before. Every year before Carnival, they'd have like a PSA with the song, just reminding people not to drunkenly piss on buildings or in alleyways. And it had a little jingle. It was, "Se tem vontade de fazer xixi, não faz aqui, não
I
faz
remember you
aqui."
sing that one before.
I
You guys
looked
got to
for
teach me
it.
the P songs. You want to know what? If anybody out there wants to learn language, honestly, like cussing and all these things are the best way to start. They really are. Like you really start picking stuff up from like the cussing and the
Oh,
swear words and
have
stuff.
you got that clip of the lady announcing the graduate kids?
Oh,
name?
yeah. Where did I share that one? And I think that one's just a complete accident. Hold on.
Obviously.
Oh goodness, where that one was in? Here it is.
La verga Alvarenga Mesa.
She's trying to do it in an
A la,
Verga
Chris, a la verga.
Alvarenga
That guy
Nesa.
probably gets that in Spanish, like it's an actual joke. But Alvarenga, a la verga, a la verga is the way you say, like suck a dick, right? Chris, go suck a dick. And she said it really well. That's what's even funnier. It's like not even like that bad of an accent. Like that's exactly how you would say a la verga. I think I told you guys the joke before. I mean, I'll say it again here. I had a mission companion who he was pretty green, and he said he wanted to say my companion. This is the new guy with me. I was the new one in the area, but I was the older companion. But he was been in the area for a while, so he's taking me to introduce him to meet the families that were he already knew, and so he was like taking me in. He was still pretty fresh, only had like 2 months out, and I'm standing there next to him. And they said, "Oh, is this the elder who's with you now?" And he goes, "Sí, él es coño." And what that means is like he is a pussy, and it's like perfectly said he is a pussy because it's supposed to be a sta, like the temporary one. He used the permanent one, so it's like it's his form. And he said conmigo is how you say it, like with me, but the coño it sounded like the ño, so it sounded like he's
Yeah.
Sí, él es coño. Like that. It's like, oh god. Sitting there like, God. Yeah, that was a good one. But
Do you want to see a funny thing that my kids did?
yeah,
I'll tell you about it real quick. It made me laugh.
is
So
it the
Morgan,
probably one?
oh no, that was pretty funny too.
That
That
one,
was
yeah.
I came. That was. I'll tell both of them. I
That
came
actually
downstairs-
feels a bit like the war argument. It's like,
Yeah,
no, definitely, no, probably, no, definitely, no.
I came downstairs and there's Lucas and August, and I hear him arguing, and Lucas is like, probably, and August is like, no, definitely, no, probably, and I was like, what are you guys arguing about?
They were having an Iran
Lucas-
argument. Yeah.
I know Lucas was standing on like my office chair, this one, and he goes, August thinks that if I jump off this spinny chair, I'll definitely get a bleeding owie, and I think just probably. No, this one was funny. On the way to work, I'm riding the bus, and everybody tries to sleep on the bus, so I usually am quiet. But then Morgan sent me this screenshot of a conversation she's having with Amazon customer service. And it's just the woman goes, I understand your child accidentally placed an order and you wish to cancel the order with refund. I will help you. Morgan's like, great, thank you. And the lady says, just to confirm, are you referring to the Extreme Farts extension pack? Yeah, that's what. Because they will sit there and they will talk to the Alexa and ask her to make fart noises for like a full hour, and they'll just laugh their asses off. And every now and then I'll hear.
So they landed on something real, or
Well, no,
or
it was
just thought they were asking for that. And
every now and then Alexa will go, you like that? And he's like, yeah. And she'll be like, I could show you a grody fart if you'd like to purchase the Extreme Farts extension pack. Do you want to purchase? And Lucas is old enough that he knows we'd kick his ass, and so he's like, no. But I think August got to it and said, yeah.
Oh man, that's funny stuff. Yeah, this Zoran dude. He wants to in New York. He wants to make government grocery stores, right?
Oh yeah.
And what else do he want to do? He wants to tax the white people. He wants to defund the police for queer liberation.
He wants to ban all guns. Like, I'm not being hyperbolic. He's actually said that. Now, obviously, he can't do that as mayor, but you know. And he wants to hike up the budget by 800% for rooting out hate crimes.
Yay!
Hang on, I got some screaming kids. I'll be right back.
I think you should have just said to the kids when they're jumping off the chair, like, well, let's find out.
Who wins? And when it's done, I want you guys to remember which one of you was right and which one of you is so wrong. You should hang your head in shame till the end of eternity and never talk again publicly.
Hang on, let me get my camera. That's how we should have responded.
Why do you think? Let me ask the questions with Iran. Why do you think they didn't fight back?
The Iranians?
Yeah, and then if they didn't fight back, why were they such a major threat right now that they were about to fight or something like that?
Well, I think that Israel had pretty thoroughly neutered them, you know. Like I don't think like militarily, especially like air defenses, like what they had was probably pretty measly to begin with and was basically gone. And, you know, I mean that's the thing is like the Hezbollah is completely neutered, Hamas is completely neutered, the Houthis are far away. The Islamic Guard, whatever they are, their special team. I mean, like they basically don't have anybody left, you know. Like their military, yeah, I think that's really about it. Their military is crap, and most of their like terrorism arms are neutered and preoccupied with Israel.
And one of the calculations they would have to take on it is how likely would Russia and China want to help out?
Yeah, well, I
Yeah.
think that's the other thing is that yeah, nobody's going to be coming to their aid. That's a big problem for
I
them.
can see that for sure being Russia because Russia's hands are tied. China's maybe just economic why they wouldn't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
One
I
of the
think
things I saw somebody point out today is that I think it was Victor Davis Hansen saying, "You guys don't realize that the Chinese and the Russians don't like these guys either." You know,
Yeah.
they
But
work
also,
with them and they use them against the United States, but they don't really like them.
yeah, they're not buddies.
Mhm.
China is the single biggest customer for Iranian oil. That's another thing. Like they're pretty dependent on their oil reserve or oil exports.
Yeah. So they would have a desire to more to keep the peace, but why not desire to help them fight? More just keep the peace. I don't know. I don't know, man. Did nothing ever happen? Did nothing happen? Like they
I
blew
think
up those
something definitely
facilities.
happened.
They blew up those facilities, and then some people are claiming, and Iran is claiming, like, we just get right back to this program. But they're probably lying a little bit there of how far back they're set.
Yeah. It's also, I mean, it is a little bit obnoxious how stupid people are pretending to be. Well, maybe they're not pretending about like they've been saying they've been close to a bomb for ages. Like, yes, and
It was
Israel,
things like these that
yeah,
kept pushing them back.
yeah. Like 10 years ago, it was that Stuxnet thing where they
But
did
we
that hacker deal. Like, yeah, and they've been assassinating people. Like, yeah, no, like we've been, at least Israel particularly, has been interdicting their program the entire fucking time.
But we see our buddy Seth, who's a slot posting. That's one of the things that drives me nuts. Is like, I mean, we have this place where we vent and all that sorts of stuff, but all over the Facebook, there was time frames where I was really irritated enough with the Biden administration. I could have like slot posted out on my page somewhere or out on some ex-Mormon page, like, isn't Biden a dipshit? And I just avoided that entirely for 4 years, even though occasionally I thought it or something like why are you guys slot posting all over Mormon stuff? But the when he said, I think Trump was for sure doing his used cars salesman thing a little bit. They're like, well, we've knocked out the uranium thing for good there. It's never coming back or something like that. And obviously, I mean, if they're going to stick around, they're going to start working back. But I think the other side they're lying to themselves. It's so funny how the U.S. is in such like a schizophrenic place. We hate ourselves so much that we want to dunk on our victories or something like that. If we knock this place back away from getting their things, like, no, we didn't. They're still getting their bomb.
Yeah,
and
no, that's definitely the case. That I can't remember somebody. I think it was NPR or something where it's like somebody in the Trump administration claimed that leftists are rooting against America. It's like, well, yeah, they are. Like, why are you guys pretending like that's not the case? Of course they
That's
are.
true.
Come on.
But I would think they wouldn't root against a nuke against America. I guess I'm still wrong about that.
No, you underestimate how suicidal white people are.
Yeah, like I think their power of spite totally overwhelms the desire for self-preservation.
The Dave Smiths and all those people, and I mean, because I think Dave Smith will admit to it that if the third war doesn't break out here, he'll admit that he was wrong. He's that type of person. That's why I say he's not like those other people. Dave Smith will admit it didn't play out how he thought it would play out. He already kind of did a little bit. And but the other side is just like so angry. You remember like a little while ago, I guess it was about the tariffs and all that stuff, but they had that term taco, Trump always chickens out.
I know.
And I mentioned
don't
before,
understand what that is. I don't
No,
understand
somebody-
what makes a taco somebody who chickens out. Is that a
it just
No,
it just spells
it's
it.
an acronym.
Trump always
chickens out.
Oh, that's what that means.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
but they
like,
taunt him just like Colbert used to taunt him about not building the wall. And they taunt him that they got the nuke. Like, why are you guys taunting him about something that you don't want him to do and continue? Like, why?
They're gonna nuke us. No, it's I might have mentioned it last week, but I remember the lefty dude at work was telling me about the taco thing. Do you hear they say Trump always chickens out? I was like, chickens out? Like he always goes back on his tariffs? I was like, yeah, it's because he gets his way.
Yeah.
Like they negotiate with him. That's what happened with Colombia in the first day, and then Mexico and Canada in the first day, and then the UK. Like all these people who said they wouldn't negotiate him, the second he puts the tariffs on, like, okay. Sorry.
Yeah. It's wild.
And then I remember talking to my brother-in-law about it, and he's talking about how terrible tariffs are. And I was like, look, I don't know. There might be some arguments for him. The arguments against him are pretty good. And he's trying to argue with his family about it. And then he keeps getting mad that they're working.
Yeah.
He texted me and he's like, I just want to tell my family how terrible tariffs are. So I'm mad that it keeps working. It's like, I don't know. Maybe you're wrong.
Yeah. I don't know. I just can't even get, because I was a bit worried that major war could pop off or long time projected regime change war could just be down the long-term pike for us. Right now, it's looking like it was a precision bombing, and that might just be the end of it. It might just be kind of similar to the Soleimani thing, and it set them back in the nuke for a while. And if I get all that, this is kind of like one of those things that Trump would, Flip would always say to like the feminists, like, good news, there's not a rape campus there going on. And then people get doubled down into it. Like me, if it's like, good news, there was not World War III, and it doesn't look like we're getting a projected regime war, I go, no, hot diggity, good news. Like,
we're getting World War III.
Fuck you, though.
One of the funnier,
good. My fear was assuaged. Great,
One of the funnier things that I've noticed going through this is I haven't listened to the Daily Wire in a while, but for whatever reason, like the last week, I listened to Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh every single day, like leading up to this Iran thing, and it's pretty hilarious hearing them both say the opposite argument. Like Ben Shapiro is talking about how, like, to every single person against this, every single war is the Iraq war. Like they're like, you guys don't want us to interfere because to you, every single war is the Iraq war. And then Matt Walsh is saying, you guys want us to interfere because every single war is World War II. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe you guys need to talk about this a little bit. And
yeah, he's talking about it a little bit today. He said Ben's not his boss, and they might have a split. I don't know, but I'm glad, because I have had a tough time watching Shapiro because he gets so Mark Levin-y. But
I don't like listening to him talk about Israel. And I don't know, his thing with he had that pretty reasonable sort of takedown of Jon Stewart when he's explaining
that was pretty good.
Why Netanyahu said that they were close to a bomb in 2012 and why they fucked that, or how they fucked that up.
I do not want emotional heartstring arguments.
I know.
Like, I want.
Well, the same reason I can't listen to Dave Smith and Glenn Greenwald talk about the Israel-Palestine thing. I'm like, I don't know. You guys seem like you're so emotional about this that you'll just trust anything that fits your side.
Yeah, they're going to be just like so hardcore on like, no war, no matter what, no war, no matter what. But who is it that I was listening to Pierce Morgan and Glenn Beck talk about it. And we know Glenn Beck had that cringe moment, but I thought they were fine talking about this scenario, like
What was
holding,
his
like,
cringe
political
moment?
sides. The cringe moment where he said he wanted to be a
Where he
citizen and was crying and all that sorts of stuff.
where
He
I
wants
thought
to be
you were
an
talking
Israeli
about.
citizen.
That's an old one, isn't it?
It's only like a year old. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's
I
like
thought,
he's had those cringe moments about Israel, but
Yeah.
talking about it this past week, I thought he was really good on it. You know.
the one with Candace Owens.
Yeah.
I haven't watched that yet, but
Well, they didn't debate. There was one after another, but I thought, he was,
oh,
he didn't throw anybody under the bus and said, I understand their fears and all that sorts of stuff, but had his arguments for the other side.
why don't I trust Candace Owens at all?
Well,
Even when I agree with her, I'm like, I don't fucking trust you.
Yeah. I don't have to trust anybody to like agree with them or not. Like anybody can say something that I generally can agree with. I don't think I've ever spent a long time listening to somebody that there's zero agreement with them. But Candace has a lot of things that over the years that I think she's kind of interesting or funny on this. But I'm totally with you that I think she's got, I don't know, she's up to something. And part of it is that she's had like such a hard turn in like certain directions like in the past few years that it does feel a little bit astroturfed.
Okay, Forrest says because she believes we didn't go to the moon because of the firmaments and doesn't believe in dinosaurs. That's kind of fair, but that's not really it for me.
Those are part of it. Those are part of it for me.
That's not even it. But like I can listen to people make really, really stupid points and still think that they're honest. And you can listen to Candace on those and think that she doesn't really think them. She thinks I don't think that
would
at
like
all.
to hear her say them.
That's maybe that's the thing, is because I can listen to her say things I totally agree with and be like, I think you're dishonest.
Yeah. She's a pretty good arguer with Pierce though. Like she's pretty good at like debating stuff, I would say, when she's on the hot seat. But I don't know.
No, she's talented. She's not stupid.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know with her. I take her leave her. Tucker's been like in a weird spot like over the past a few months or a while, but I mean he was elated. He wasn't complaining that World War III didn't pop off. He was happy it didn't. It looked like. So I don't know. Both him and Dave Smith were happy that it didn't, but then still kind of held by they felt it shouldn't have happened. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with it still. I still don't know like how it's going to play out or what Iran might do or might not do. But I'm a little bit more frustrated with all the people just saying like, now we see where dogs sleep with all whatever they lie. Blah, 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 blah. You want to know what argument I really dislike? And this one does sound like a numbers logical argument, but using it in a string pulling way drives me crazy. When people talk about, I saw Thomas Massey doing it this week and Douglas Murray do it, percentage of population that died. Like if 2,000 people died and like, that's like 33% of the population of way higher, something like that, of the US dying. It's just like that. I'm like, no, it isn't. Like, no, it's 2,000 people who died.
I
like,
know.
Don't tell me percentages of populations dying or something.
Per capita, it's like 4 9/11s.
Yes, that drives me crazy. Thomas Massey did the same thing. It's like, think about the population in Gaza who died. This percentage of people and everybody has some percent that touched someone. No, like if there's 2 million of those people and exactly the same amount of them died, it's an equal tragedy. Like don't try to give me like something that's a bigger tragedy because it's a percentage of something of some arbitrary group or something like that. I'm sad enough at the big number of people dying. Kind of like that thing that we were talking about with the Auschwitz stuff. Like hundreds of millions didn't die. It was actually just 150,000, or the Noam Chomsky arguments about the killing fields in Cambodia. It wasn't 3 million people. It was more like 150,000 people. Like, good enough, shithead. 150,000 is good enough for that person to be the worst.
Those Risto and Sinatra were talking, or not, Forrest and Sinatra were talking about the Van Allen radiation belt. Forrest missed out when we were talking about that.
We did bring up the Van Allen radiation belt.
Because I was like, you know what, I'm curious. So I looked at the dumpster.
That's why Owen Benjamin doesn't believe in it, and he disowned his entire family for it.
Yeah, well, when I hear the moon landing guys talk about that, I'm always like, yeah, that would be terrible. But I never looked it up, so we actually looked it up on here, and I'm pretty sure that there's a section of the Van Allen radiation belt that is thin enough that it takes about 20 minutes to get through.
And you
going at the
time
speed
it
we're
to
going,
go through it.
and they can hit it at an angle, and it's only 150 millirem per hour, which is not much at all. Like, I've been in that dose rate field for, a while, and it's like one X-ray to your face is usually about 300 millirem. But yeah.
And what did you say the Van Allen is?
Like, I think that the lowest dose rate, if I remember right, was like 150 millirem per hour. So if you're there for 20 minutes, you're not even getting, you're getting like 70, 68 millirem.
It's not too far off from flying in an airplane, right? Like,
I can't remember the.
Well, other people who would like try to make you doubt it, talking about that thing, they would say that you'd be in it for almost a day, if not multiple days.
Well, at the thicker end,
at the thick center of it, and I think Elon Musk has even talked about that creates a problem for him shooting towards Mars because he might have to shoot off from that spot where you'd have to like go through that or something.
What's the conversion from millisieverts to rems?
Sieverts is contamination. Rem is dose. I can't remember. We don't use sieverts ever in America.
About 2 to 5 millirem flying on an airplane. So I guess that's not nearly the same.
Oh, so no, it's not contamination. That's right. I don't know. It's a unit we never use where I work, so I always forget it until I have to take a test.
Yeah, for me, because I've heard all the other moon argument stuff, and for me, the toughest one was always the Van Allen radiation belt, and then after looking up, I was like, oh, okay, and I think that that's about it. But the back to Candace Owens and her weird stuff. You want what's funny? She's the only person I know of who talks about man, Macron, woman. And that one I kind of buy a little bit. Like, not the whole thing of like the brother and the sister and all that sort of stuff, but that is a one weird looking chick. Maybe it's just something in between, and always has been.
I don't know. So I listened to the first couple things of her talking about that, and I was like, man, I don't know. I don't think I buy this whole transgender thing, but if the rest of the accusations you're leveling are true, then the transgender part is like the least of my worries.
She dated him when she was 40 and he was like 15 or something like that.
That part is definitely true. Well, not that they date. She knew she was in love with him from when she first met him, and he was several months before his 15th birthday.
That's so goofy. Anyway, that stuff's all weird. But yeah, Candace Owens gives me like a bit of the ick too, of like, and the guy that she had filling in for her when she was pregnant. What's that dude's name? With the mustache. And a bunch of people are coming down on him for being kind of a conspiracy theorist on the Iran stuff too. And that guy feels like he glows a little bit. Like he came out of nowhere.
Came out of nowhere, and he's weird.
Yeah. And it feels like maybe some sort of glow he's got to Candace Owens, because she became this so fast just about 2 years ago, whereas before she was just kind of, I don't know, Dave Rubin-y, like, I like free speech, and the left's bad.
Well,
that's about what it was. And then all of a sudden she knows about every conspiracy theory ever.
She's smarter than Dave Rubin. She's more talented than him at this thing.
Have you heard? But I mean, Dave Rubin's never switched off into conspiracy theory land. And like, it kind of melts my mind that she jumps off to conspiracy theory land and she's uber well researched on all of it. Although, have you watched like Sam Hyde talk about black conspiracies? He says like, you never met real conspiracy theorists until you met black people. And I listened to some of their conspiracy theories, and they're like, they believe that all fast food is human meat. A bunch of all of it's Soylent Green and all these other different ideas. Which, by the way, did you see the new conspiracy theory drop that the reason Mormon temples don't have windows is because Joseph Smith fell out of the temple out of windows?
Are they being serious?
No, I doubt.
That was kind of a joke. Like, somebody just asked on Twitter why they don't have windows. Like, are Mormons against windows? And some guy just said Joseph Smith died falling out of a window.
Yeah. Real quick, the lead singer of the New York Dolls died.
Oh yeah.
And
taxi driver from Scrooged.
Taxi Driver from Scrooge, that's who I remember him most from. But we also remember the New York Doll, the Mormon documentary where their bass player became a Mormon. And Flip has a signed poster. Is that your signed poster, Flip?
No, that was just. I mean, that's just
A
an
poster.
image
You
of the
have a
poster.
version of that signed poster?
Yeah, the director. Because I went to like a what's it called? What do they call it? A viewing, a presenting.
Meet and greet?
Like the director of the film presented the film, and I went to see the presentation.
Meet and greet, right? Premiere?
Yeah, well, it wasn't a premiere.
Red
but,
carpet premiere?
It's a what? There's a word for it. A screening. A screening with the director.
Ah, that sounds more whiny. It sounds more bougie.
It
Bougie
was
and whiny.
It was in West Jordan.
Did you have the wines at it?
No, that was one because that was 2005.
Wait, did I say the secret word of the day? Ah, that's not the secret word of the day. It's just Flip's Booth Corner. We saw Jonathan. I don't know if he wants to tell him tales out of school. Suddenly got into tiki and rum.
Drinks.
Tiki rum. What do you think of tiki rum, Flip?
I mean, I haven't had a lot of tiki stuff because I'm not a big cocktails guy. But I mean, I do love rum and rummy drinks. I don't know. I want to go with Jonathan to a tiki lounge, I guess.
I do not like rummy drinks. I think they're kind of so far what I've tried is overly sweet. So and if stuff gets overly sweet, I feel gacky on it. Is that normal?
Well, so
It
yeah,
depends on
I mean,
if there's syrup in it.
That's the thing is like I think a lot of that depends on like who's making the drink. There is that kind of thing. Anything done in America is sweeter. But
so it wouldn't have really been that sweet in the.
I don't know because I've never been to the Caribbean. I've never been to the actual places. But I also because I've talked to before about my favorite kinds of rums are the Jamaican pot still rums, and also I'm sure people remember that I shouldn't say famously, maybe notoriously, that Bacardi is just bad tasting vodka. Like I hate when people are like, "Oh, I like rum. I drink Bacardi." I'm like, "No, you drink garbage."
It's how difficult it is to get Morgan to like a drink.
Yeah.
The only time I've ever had Bacardi is when I was asking somebody at work. My wife wants to try to drink, but she just can't stomach anything. What should I get her? And he's like, get her Bacardi Dragonberry and mix it with ginger ale. And she was kind of okay with that. Her favorite drink is the Chata Colada, but that's like 6 trillion calories, and she doesn't usually want to drink it.
Is that just coconut milk and rum?
No, it's usually cream of coconut, rum, pineapple juice, something else. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I made one. I'm drinking myself a nice vodka Red Bull tonight. That is distilled in. It's actually the only way I can drink Red Bull. I hate Red Bull.
I have always hated all energy drinks. I've never.
Yeah,
found one that didn't taste awful.
I don't think there's a single one I like, but Red Bull is exceptionally bad.
The thing I do like to complain about all those energy drinks is I love the deceptive labeling they do because they all invariably contain guarana as an ingredient, and it's just a way of saying mega dose of caffeine without having to say mega dose of caffeine. Because people are like, oh, guarana, that's like natural Amazon. That's a natural Amazon plant. That's natural.
Vamos tomar guaraninha. Che?
The guarana berry has like 3 times or 3 to 6 times the amount of caffeine as a coffee bean.
Wait, so does that not factor into the overall caffeine content? Like, did they not include that on the nutrition facts?
No, see, that's the thing. It's like I think it's kind of like whenever you
put the caffeine amount on it.
I don't know if they actually have to put do they?
Yeah,
I used to caffeine
watch
amount on it. I thought you were saying that it was like they snuck extra caffeine in there.
I guess I have never looked very closely at the labels because I didn't know that do they say this drink contains 400 milligrams of caffeine or whatever?
This one's 114. those monsters are usually like 140 or something.
They totally do. So when I was doing competitions, I would wake up in the morning. The first thing I needed to do was get 200 milligrams of caffeine into me. So you want to know what energy drink I took?
Coffee, black coffee.
No, a Vibrant pill with water. That's how you do that. And then
200 milligrams each.
yeah, you just take one pill and drink the water and start running. And that's
You know what I tried the other day?
you can get rid of your Red Bull.
Because I thought it was kind of, I mean, to me, I think it's more like, you know, when you see those like really sugary products where it's like, this has corn syrup and it has stevia and has like, well, I can't think of the words for something, like they're slipping my mind. But I've like seen things where it's just sugar in 4 different delivery methods. And so they, just to avoid saying sugar, they just use different
Sugar,
chemical sounding
corn syrup.
yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Dextrose or something like
yeah,
that.
dextrose. Yeah, like, but it's like you just say sugar, 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 sugar. That's what.
Honey, honey. Do 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 do. Yeah. What were we talking about before that?
Ass or tits?
Ass or tits?
I'm pretty sure it was one of those.
Ass or tits? Did you guys ever have?
I'm not an ass man or a tits man. I'm more of a personality man.
Do we still have more to talk about the bombing or the commie mayor, or was that covered well enough? Bombing, calming neighbors.
Yeah.
Bombing. Somebody said on the TikTok, Ted Cruz's beard looks like Mormon church carpet walls feel.
Oh, gross! It's Jackson Washburn.
Oh, is that who it was? Yeah, I didn't even see it. Never mind about that. Disregard. Just kidding. You want to see Cardin and some random guy talk about how people think about Israelis as how people think about Mormons?
Oh God, no.
What?
Yeah, let's do it.
What?
Don't you believe that?
That's his go-to.
He's such a fucking spaz.
Well, don't you? Doesn't that sound like
Cardin?
makes
Yeah.
sense? Like,
And
no.
I haven't listened to award radio in so long because I read their headlines, their show titles, and I'm just like, you got to be kidding me.
It's falling
Morgan,
off a little bit.
yeah, Morgan asked me the other day if I was, or today, she's like, what are you guys going to talk about? Like, oh, a lot of politics. And she's like, you going to talk about any Mormon drama? I was like, I don't know. I haven't paid
There's not
attention.
really much going on.
I know. I was like, I haven't paid attention to Mormon shit in like 2 months, except for what Chris brings.
Well, I mean, I've been looking at stuff and
Hey, we got culture again.
Dylan's basically just kind of rehashing his old CES videos.
Oh, I did see there was a video with Jim Bennett talking to Kwaku about Nazism.
Yeah, he also went on and talked to I was going to say Homath, Nuance Ho about that too. I listened to him try to pitch it to the Ward Radio guys too. Kwaku's not wrong, but he's also lying a bunch of that too. Which is one of the reasons I ever started talking to all those guys, is to get their side of the story of stuff. And it kind of just drives me nuts. Like all the he's framing stuff in a certain way, and I'll stand by forever that Jim Bennett and Kwaku are exactly just the mirror political image to the Disney side. You know, it's just the mirror. You guys are doing politics instead of church, and you're trying to bring it into your churchy stuff. But the stuff that he says, I mean, he brings up like some weird guys, and there's some goofy people on there. At this point, right now, I think some other people have been unmasked somewhere else. They brought up some politician dude, but every single person that I've come into contact with that was part of the Desnatty world and thing is Polynesian or Guatemalan or whatever. I haven't come across like one white dude.
Who you talk about?
Yeah. And they even just generally kind of like reject or try to hide from the designated thing. But I mean, I haven't met a white dude yet. You know, I'm sure they're out there. I know that one guy got exposed and lost his job or something like that, and that was some white guy who was involved in some sort of politics or something. But
did you hear about the Washington Post article?
What?
About how we're in a cooling period?
Oh.
no.
Again?
I saw.
I haven't read it. I was gonna look for it after work, but
I saw some people talk about that stuff. I'd seen people
I
predicting
saw
that stuff for a while.
Bernie and Joe Rogan talked about it,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know. Every time Joe Rogan brought up something, Bernie didn't really want to argue. So I actually haven't read that article yet.
Yeah.
Oh man, that clip was funny. I only watched 15 minutes of that.
Yeah, or he's asking like, we need to get the money out of the politics. I'm like, but Kamala Harris spent more money. You're going down a dangerous road here, Joe.
Oh, I didn't even see that clip. I saw the one where he was talking about Trump suing journalists.
Oh yeah.
And just the whole thing where it's like, and Joe Rogan's like, well, but they did like lie. And he's like, I don't know about that. Like,
okay, you seem pretty passionate about it.
Yeah, and there's even one
where journalists. You can't go after journalists, but they
like
deceptively edited her video, and then their bias always goes one direction.
And Joe's like, I think it's pretty universally agreed upon that CNN totally edited that video, and it's just like, and he's just like, well, that's just you're going down a dangerous road. That's fucking retarded.
I didn't watch the whole entire thing of it. Let's listen to this.
False prophet to believe in yourself. And when you have no religion,
do you
know what's the worst false prophet to believe in? Yourself. And when you have no religion, you always degenerate and descend into self-worship.
He authored God.
I mean, there's worse. Like there could be like a David
self-worship. I think.
Something.
I mean, if you become like a megalomaniac or have any sort of power like that, I would hate that. But if you're just like somebody who's become generally self-interested or a narcissist, that's not as big of a problem as I think the people who start worshiping religion. Like, I mean, not religion, worshiping politics. Like they make politics their new god. Those are the ones that drive me nuts. If they just worry about themselves, like fine by me.
Yeah, he's describing Sam Shelley right now, but like I'm thinking of like, I don't know, Heaven's Gate.
Well, that's religion though, right? He's saying if you leave religion, he's talking about atheist types.
Sure. I always think of Gorbachev's grandfather who was accused of being a kulak or something and was thrown into a gulag. And even after he got out, after years and years, he told his whole family, he's still a devout Stalinist, and he kept telling his family, no, brother Stalin didn't do this. He wouldn't have known about it. Like it was all a mistake. Like, yeah, I'd rather you be a narcissist.
Well, it's just like the Maoists, all the Maoists that went around and worship. I mean, to this day, they still worship Mao and all that sort of stuff. Like, I think the only like major risk. I mean, it's not good to start worshiping the self like a whole ton and all that sorts of deal, but that could happen to anybody anywhere. But the statism, I think, is the problem that happens with, or that people should avoid as they go leaving the religion.
And Jesus and Joseph Smith authorized Orson Hyde to dedicate the land of Israel in 1841 for the immediate immigration and return of the Jews, the ingathering of the exiles. So we don't have any doctrine that there's going to be any scattering in the final dispensation. This is all a gathering dispensation. So this idea that terrorism should be inflicted on the Jews to gently and meekly persuade them that Jesus is the Christ, that's a pretty disgusting position that I reject. That you need terrorism to persuade Jews to believe in Jesus. That's stupid.
Well, geez, when you put it that way, it is a rough super chat. That's not what I read at the beginning, but geez. If you're going to be going after them as though they're the problem, you don't know what the problem really is. In fact, I would argue you can beta test how someone is going to treat a Mormon by how they treat a Jew.
There it is. I mean, I guess he put it in the highlights at the beginning, although he says it again later. But
oh God,
I mean,
it's like he looked at all this woke shit and was like, they got some good ideas.
That's the stuff that I hate from Shapiro.
I need to horn in on this action.
And I think it's one of the good arguments from Dave Smith is like, you don't get to argue, you don't get to complain about the identitarians when your whole entire world is basically an identitarian argument like that. Yeah.
This episode is brought to you guys by ScriptureNotes.com, the coolest way of reading your scriptures online. For a free trial of Scripture Notes, please make sure you guys visit the links in the description. Wait, so hold on, bro.
Is it like, I mean, all the way going back, like I totally agree. I know you totally agree that people are bigoted towards Mormons and bigoted towards Jews. but also, also sometimes it's just criticism.
Yeah, there's
And-
also plenty of people who are fine with Mormons who hate Jews. So I don't know. Oh, you're not a Jew, Garden. You're just adopted, and that's not even real.
Yeah, he does keep trying to make it.
I'm in the tribe of Manasseh.
It's just like the Mein Kampf, like any sort of like the CES letter that John Nolan's reviewing again this week is Mein Kampf, and it is basically kind of going. I don't know. Oh.
A super chat. I'm re-recording right now. The super chat just came in late. It's always right after we end the live stream. There's some kind of processing in YouTube.
I've heard that one from a lot of members of the church.
So yeah, so Kate here asks and says the scattering is over and the end of the Gentiles is near, but 2 Nephi 6:11 says Israel is still smitten until they believe in Christ. How do you know that this war isn't God's scattering and judgment? Interesting. What do you say to that, my man?
Are we back live?
Yeah, we are.
Okay, so let's look at it real quick. So
Well, not live. We're just recording. We're just recording.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So 2 Nephi 6:11, wherefore after they are driven to and fro, for thus saith the angel, many shall be afflicted in the flesh, and shall not be suffered to perish, because of the prayers of the faithful, and they shall be scattered and smitten and hated. Nevertheless, the Lord will be merciful unto them, that when they shall come to the knowledge of their Redeemer, they shall be gathered together again to the lands of their inheritance. Okay, so first of all, Moses came. I told you I'm an Orthodox, hardcore Latter-day Saint. Moses came. He gave the keys of the gathering of Israel. He authored, God and Jesus and Joseph Smith authorized Orson Hyde to dedicate the land of Israel in 1841 for the immediate immigration and return of the Jews, the ingathering of the exiles. So we don't have any doctrine that there's going to be any scattering in the final dispensation. This is all a gathering dispensation. So this idea that terrorism should be inflicted on the Jews to gently and meekly persuade them that Jesus is the Christ, that's a pretty disgusting position that I reject. That you need terrorism to persuade Jews to believe in Jesus.
You don't sound
Well,
very.
put it that way. It is a rough super chat.
You don't sound very fucking hardcore.
That's not what I read at the beginning, but jeez, man, gosh, okay.
Anyway,
okay.
But right, so Jewish people believe, most religious Jews believe in the Messiah, right? They believe that a Messiah is going to come. And so there's been a lot of messianic candidates throughout history who claim to be the Messiah. But from a Jewish point of view, I heard this one rabbi. He said it the best I've ever heard. You're going to love it. He said, when the Messiah comes, he's going to have to show us the goods.
Okay, yeah.
He's only the Messiah if he completes all of the messianic prophecies.
Just like
So, like, isn't that an atheistic position? You know, I can believe in your Messiah if he shows us the goods. You know what I mean? Like, isn't that the thing that you're supposed to have more faith in that?
That's Korahor.
That's Korahor, yeah.
Or Nahor. I always get those two confused.
I mean, so Cardin's supposed to love it if the Jews say it, but if we say it,
there's one of the two
Mein Kampf.
antichrists in the Book of Mormon that's like, show me a sign, God, and God strikes him dumb, and he gets like trampled brutally or something. I can't remember.
So the Jews can say, I got to see the goods, and it's okay, but
The rest of us.
Flip can't. Yeah.
he did the first time. He showed us the goods the first time. He fulfilled every prophecy in Isaiah. That's why Matthew wrote the book of Matthew, literally showing all the Jewish prophecies that were fulfilled. So, okay, that makes sense.
Then why do we need a second coming?
Well, he's just going to do it again.
Christians that believe in a second coming are acknowledging that the Jews have something right. Because the Jews are saying, well, we're not going to believe in a Messiah until he gives us all the goods. Until he fulfills all the prophecies of Messiah, he checks all the boxes.
That's my atheistic stance, Gordon. Like that's if a Messiah comes and shows the goods, I will believe. I promise. But I'm told that I'll be too late at that moment sometimes.
Yeah, that's what Risto just said. The goods is a sword.
Then we'll say, oh, you are the king of Israel. So where is the temple in Jerusalem? Why are not all the exiles gathered? Why is there still war on earth?
What would you guys think if tomorrow, like, be honest, sky's open, Jesus with a missionary placard and the shaped face comes out of the heavens and goes, I am Moroni, I am Jesus, I am second coming to
I'd be like, man, I hope that Joseph F. Smith was right about that whole progression between kingdoms thing, because I really want to plan it.
I got to get back on this. I got to get back in.
I'd say thank God for forgiveness.
In a Jewish point of view, the Messiah has to do what King David did, plus everything else.
You'd say, what was that?
I'd be like, hopefully I only have a TK smoothie for the next 4 million years, you know? Hopefully I can grow my dick back once I get to the celestial kingdom.
And so that from a Jewish point of view, it's a wait and see. We'll wait and see. So terrorizing the Jews through Iran and Hamas and Hezbollah.
I'm just going to throw you guys under the bus. Flipping Jared made me do it. Flipping Jared
Yeah.
made me.
Hey, you think like if so? Let's say there's progression between the kingdoms, right? Me and Morgan are both in the Celestial Kingdom. I'm like further back because Morgan never did mushrooms in her temple clothes and showed the handshakes to her friends. So I'm like way further back. So it takes us both a long time to get to Celestial Kingdom, but it takes me like 3 million, I don't know, to like 10 billion years longer than her. Do you think she'll wait for me? Like, or do you think I'm gonna get like a Dear
It's
John?
gonna be like the Dear John thing all over.
Yeah. Oh shit.
I gotta tell you guys something. This is one of the problems. I have a full knowledge of the gospel. I've held the golden plates in my hand. It's just still too ridiculous of a story, and that's why I haven't been able to come out and tell people that I've held the plates. I just didn't. Oh, nobody will believe me. I don't want to be an idiot. I don't want to look like an idiot, but I've held them. Jeez.
That's going to somehow gently and meekly persuade them to believe in Jesus Christ.
That does seem a little bit more like a perspective of like mainstream American Christianity. Like I've always felt really uncomfortable with the way that mainline Protestantism in America treats Jews and Muslims.
That's what if like when Kash Patel got to his office, he's like, "Show me the Epstein shit," and they showed him like irrefutable proof that Epstein killed himself.
And he's like, "Shit!
God damn it! How do I explain this?
Damn it!
Fuck! Ah!
It'd be the same thing as I guess that happened to those flat earthers. So like some of them got down to like Antarctica and like, how do I hold on to this one?
Yeah,
I gotta hold on to this one. Or if Owen Benjamin was shown conclusively that somebody was on the moon or something.
Owen Benjamin would find some way to refute it.
And other people. It's like, guys, your biggest enemy.
You feel there's anything in your life that you would hold on to in the face of all other? Do you feel like you're holding on to anything like that? Like,
I don't know. I guess if I find out that like one of my kids isn't biologically mine, I'd be like, "Fuck you, that's my kid." I don't know.
Prove it. Source.
Like
source.
I really like getting drunk, right? So if somebody were to convince me that alcohol wasn't very good for you, I wouldn't believe him. And I would keep drinking it. I'd be like, "Fuck you, you're wrong."
I cannot think of a thing I am so wedded to. I couldn't be like, okay, this was bullshit. Let's draw.
I'm trying to think of like reality related shit. Like, I guess as far as like opinions go, you're
gravity
right.
was
Like,
never real, man. You just had to like not really care, and you'd float. Like, what?
like the things that I like hold most strongly are things that like Weezer has sucked since Pinkerton, and I don't.
What if you had the Spirit of the Lord come down and speak unto you?
They're like, oh,
they've been good all along and getting better.
Hurling is objectively divine.
What if that's like your only way to go to heaven, Flip? Is you have to say that Weezer has only gotten better.
Hey, I like King of the World. That's a good song, and that was on the White Album.
Is that? I don't even know that song.
It was kind of a newer one. One of my friends showed it to me. He's like, Weezer made a good song. No, they didn't. You mean like 20 years ago? And he's like, yeah, no, like this was when it happened. Like, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago. And I like that song, King of the World. He said he liked the whole album. I never bothered listening to it.
Oh, I didn't even bring up the title of this whole podcast, the Kobayashi Maru, which is the Captain Kirk thing where he beat the unbeatable situation. Scott Adams has been saying that Trump Kobayashi Maru'd that situation. I don't know if he fully did or didn't, but how would you Kobayashi Maru getting into heaven if you had to say that Weezer has only gotten better? There's so many different things that you would wonder if you could be like Jean-Luc Picard of saying there are four lights. Like, could you be like, Weezer has not gotten better?
How many days of torture until you admit that Hurley was a good album?
What if that really is the key to the kingdom of heaven, though, is that you have to go in and for a tribe or for your family, would you lie, Jordan Peterson? Would you say Jordan Peterson that Weezer has only gotten better to save your family? I wouldn't put myself in that position.
It would never happen to me. No, we kind of had this discussion in one of the group chats with Risto when we were talking about the whole parents of transgender children thing, and I was like, I have a certain like, I was really mad at them at first, but I do have a certain amount of sympathy toward them when I just see the inherent trust that people put in experts on anything. And when the expert is telling you, you either give your kid this like bone sucking hormonal treatment or they'll kill themselves. And I'm like, fuck, okay.
Yeah, I get.
I guess I'd rather have, and I remember him because he was like Risto was asking like, when would you use the pronouns of a person? I just can't bring myself to do it, like almost ever, because I'm like, it just, no matter what, I don't really even want to be a dick to the person. It could be the nicest.
No, it's just the same thing as like you have to say Weezer's only gotten better.
Yeah, I know. It could be the nicest dude in a dress in the world, and I could adore him. And if he's like, I would really appreciate if you call me she, her, I would even want to, just to make him feel better, but I just couldn't because it's pretend. It's all bullshit. And Rista was like asking, like, put yourself in a position, what would make you use a pronoun? I was like, maybe if I legitimately was convinced that I thought my kid was going to kill himself if I didn't say herself instead, maybe I would do that. And I'm not certain that that's the right answer because it's still untrue, but it would be really difficult to not do literally anything, including lie, cheat, steal, and murder to save my kid's life.
Yeah, that one, I definitely, like in working situations or in private life, when somebody's totally like polite about it or whatever, gone along with it. It's also something that stunts my brain. Like I struggle to do it, even if I have to do it. So I'll find myself just avoiding even like coming across.
Yeah, no, I would avoid pronouns altogether. If it was someone I really liked, I would just avoid it and that would even bother me because it still feels like I'm lying. It still feels like I'm pretending.
I had a situation this week where we were being relayed a story of somebody in the music scene who has burned all bridges and nobody wants to work with him anymore and called everybody in the world the worst. Guess what? Identity they identify.
He's a woman.
Yeah, and but the people were talking about it in the third person in another place about all the bridges that this person has burned, and I was just getting really, really confused with the pronouns. Like I genuinely, I knew all the people in the situation, and I genuinely stopped following the story because I didn't know what was going on with the pronouns there. Like it really does make communication near impossible. But
yeah.
And that was going along with real stories of burnt all the bridges with everybody and everybody's their enemy and that sort of
My brother's kid is trans. And so like, 'cause that's a tough one for me because like, I don't like saying it just because like, I don't like saying things that aren't true, but I also don't want to cause a fight or anything. But it's also really, really hard just because like, I knew you as one thing for like 18 years. And then I didn't see you for years, and now you're this other thing, and like, because in my head, you're just the same person you always were, But because that's the other thing is like, that's things like I really like to talk to her, but I know I can't because it's just such a minefield. But because she's a boy now and goes by a different name, and like my whole thing is like, I had nothing wrong. Like there was nothing wrong with you. You're fine. Why are you changing? Like you didn't like who you were. I did. Like, fucking relax. But I don't know. The thing is such a mess.
Yeah.
If it was they them, there's no fucking way. if somebody's like, I'm non-binary, I'm not fucking doing that. That's like if it was just changing it to the opposite sex, I'd be like, and then I would avoid pronouns. But
yeah, no, that's true. That is an easier pill to swallow.
Yeah. Anyway. Let's see.
Forrest says, I'm not about any of the pronoun, or I'm not about any of the trans stuff, but it is confusing that pronouns are gendered, but language never makes sense. I was like, well, yeah, there's weird stuff about language, but language is a representation of what I believe, you know?
Yeah. Anyway, what's next?
What are next?
What are next?
Do you know any Tagalog flip?
Just the stuff that's obviously Spanish.
Oh yeah, that was Colt just talking about. He learned Tagalog on his mission.
Is it Tagalog? Is it
Tagalog? I don't know.
I think it's Tagalog.
You're probably right. I've never heard it pronounced.
Coach, which one of us is saying it closer to correctly?
I would trust you.
Well, because I'm just wondering, because like that's how it is in my head, but I don't know if that's something I heard or something I assumed. I think I heard it.
He said you're right. Forrest said it would be like associating pronouns with hair color. I mean, if that's the way that language was structured, but like this is like somebody with obvious brunette hair telling me she's blonde, and then me in that's the thing is like with there's no other truth claim argument that is associated with everyday speech that I have to use in order to communicate. Like I don't believe that Joseph Smith was a prophet, and like my Mormon friends know that, but like it never comes up. They know that I don't believe it. I know that they do believe it. If they ask me about it, I'll be like, yeah, I don't believe it. And they're like, okay. But they don't force me to acknowledge it. And there's no part of speech, like a pronoun or an adverb or anything. They don't, I always use the Christ is King example. It's just like that. It's they don't say at the end of every conversation, you have to say, and Joseph Smith was a true prophet of God. Because if they did, I'd be like, I'm not going to do that. And if they were like, I'll kill myself if you don't, I'd be like, don't, but I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. Anyway.
It would be nice. It would be nice if English didn't have gendered pronouns and we wouldn't have to worry about it. It would be more difficult in Portuguese, listening to your son come home and say, Obrigada, pai.
Let's see here. Did you guys ever have secret combinations on your mission?
I mean,
I heard about the tennis club where you wear a tennis racket pendant around your neck, and that means that you're DTF.
That was a thing on your mission?
No, it was a myth. I don't believe it. I don't think it was real. They kept telling us, yeah, some of the elders and sisters were having sex in the baptismal font.
So this guy claims this. I mean, I heard some stuff floating around my mission, but I don't know if they were just. This sounds a little bit extreme.
They called themselves the Gadian robbers, and the whole point of this was to kill other missionaries who wanted to keep the rules or simply be a good missionary. And obviously, it wasn't physical, but it was more of a spiritual, mental, and emotional thing. Basically, to the point where you went home, left the church, or just completely conformed to what that group did to you, said to you, or they just didn't want you reporting whatever you saw or heard that group do to the mission leadership or to the church or whatever. Basically just giving them free realm of the mission, allowing them to do whatever they wanted, however they wanted. And I got to the point where I was reporting to the church so much that the church wanted me to basically investigate this group of missionaries and to report back to the church what I had found. And the reason why I couldn't report back to my mission president is because my mission president, he knew about a lot of the stuff that was going on. And not that he didn't necessarily play along with it, but he allowed it to happen. He basically denied that it ever happened. There's a lot of video evidence that we had, and a lot of different testimonies from missionaries who actually went home, the church contacted, and actually collaborated my story. And he still denied really anything happening in his mission, to the point where he got so angry with me, he started yelling at me, screaming at me, saying that I had ruined his opportunity to become an Area 70 over that area, which for a lot of people who are part of the church or were in the church is a pretty ridiculous thing to say. Especially when a lot of missionaries' lives are at risk. They're mentally at risk as well, spiritually at risk. And a lot of the stuff that this group of missionaries did would surprise a lot of people. I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritty details.
Why not? Do it.
Tell a few stories on some later videos. But a couple things that they were doing, basically this free pass, this free roam of the mission allowed them to missionaries and members. They were also essaying multiple missionaries and members, stealing, robbing. I know there were many times that they would take advantage of the members and say that, oh, we need your car, or we need your house, or whatever, and then they would just completely trash everything. There was a lot of wrecks in the mission for missionaries driving members' cars.
How many members would
and
put
other
up
things
with
like
that?
And a lot of this was actually caught on camera, which is kind of surprising, and was actually shown to the mission president. It never made it out of the mission because I never had access to those
I do not
individual
buy
videos.
this.
But
I know.
it was out there, and they got away with all of
Don't
it.
buy this.
I hate
But
saying
he
that
had
almost
video
all the
evidence.
missionaries actually finished that mission. Nothing really happened to them.
Yeah.
Where does it even say where he was as a missionary?
I don't think so.
Like, come on. I was gonna say, like, when you ask the question,
My
like,
life be like.
what? Because, like, in our mission, we had what we called the Wheels, but the Wheels was just our name for the Missionary Gossip Network.
Mhm.
And like, there was big wheels and little wheels, and like one of the questions you would always ask if when you were getting a new companion is was he, like, there was two questions you wanted to know about your new companion. Can he handle his junk? And that's like missionary streetwise. And then, is he a big wheel? Is he connected to the gossip network? And yeah, but that's the closest thing. Like, they were just code words for things that exist in any organization everywhere, which is gossip and institutional intelligence.
Hey, what did they call the member girls that would flirt with missionaries?
Oh, what? I know they had a name for that. Because obviously, there was special spirits. Everybody knows about special spirits. But that's a different thing.
Yeah, in Brazil it was snakes, but like in English they say, "Ela é snakey."
She's a sneaky.
Uma snake.
Yeah, I don't know. I know we had a word for it, but I can't think of it now.
We also had the lazy missionary. Was always when I was in Nebraska, it was the sack. We always call, he's a sack. And in Brazil it was fubeca.
Nice. Yeah, that story. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't buy that at all. It sounds like
how many members would just listen to a missionary saying, "We want to have your house for the weekend," and then when they just trash it, not say anything?
Yeah, also, I mean, that's not even. You can't even do that under mission rules. Like, that's not like taking somebody's house. What?
Yeah,
that's not a thing.
Let's see here. Do you want to see somebody talk about Utah accents?
I heard that guy had a Utah accent. I could tell.
The guy who was just talking.
Yeah, because he said stilling instead of stealing.
Oh, yeah.
My mom does that hardcore. We're gonna go to a garage sale.
Yeah.
What?
Let's go to the garage sale and steal stuff.
Yeah. It made me confused because when she would say windowsill, I always thought that meant it was called a window seal in real life.
Because that was another word she mispronounced.
She mispronounced so many things that I thought. And one of my friends, did you say window seal? I was like, yeah, it's sill. I was like, fuck, my mom.
Yeah, here you go.
The Mormon Lives being out right now, I'm hearing a lot of noise about the Utah accent. As a linguist and language professor living in Utah, this is my moment to explain what's going on. In a California dialect, you're going to hear the lengthening of vowel sounds. So it'll be like, I don't even know. Obviously, I'm leaning into stereotypical sort of Valley Girl example. Utah does the exact opposite. So Utah speakers are going to shorten every single vowel sound as much as possible. For example, instead of saying feel or real, where you have that long morphing diphthong vowel, yield, often going to shorten that into a very short fill, real. I really feel bad about that. Another thing that you're going to see is emphasizing consonants in places where other American English speakers wouldn't emphasize them. For instance, in an NG sound, a Utah speaker is going to emphasize the glottalization of that sound. So instead of saying running, they're going to say running. It's even going to create like an extra intensifying effect on certain consonants that don't actually exist. So for instance, when saying the last name Nelson, a lot of Utah English speakers will say Nelson, where there are extended vowels put together, like for instance, the word bullying, where you have an E and an E sound stuck together to create E-ing, bullying. Utah speakers are typically going to end up just shortening that into a single E sound, bullying. I don't like bullying. Then it seems a little bit paradoxical because sometimes the consonant is omitted. Think of a word like mountain, where a Utah speaker will famously say mountain. That's actually not that specific to Utah. A lot of American English speakers drop the T there. That's an influence from British migrants all over the United States. But the thing that makes Utah speakers unique is even in dropping the consonant, they're going to still shorten those vowels as much as possible. So mountain, it becomes very, very brief. The other thing is that Utah speakers tend to keep the mouth open in the same position while producing vowel sounds. There's not a lot of up and down or sideways movement in the mouth. So what that creates is extra tongue movement. Let me give you an example. A Utah speaker would say, that is really hard to understand. What are you doing? I don't know about that. I didn't know that. Notice I shortened the vowel that, but I keep the mouth open in the vowel shape even after the consonant has been said. Even if the consonant is enunciated, they would say, I don't know about that. Because of that, you'll hear a lot of exhalation following words. And then you hear this really interesting hardening of the R sound as well. Is she here? Are they there? Because again, we're trying to create the consonant while we're also keeping our mouth open in that vowel shape still. So if you watch these reality shows, pay attention. None of the vowels are extended. The mouth is left open a lot. You'll see a lot of the tongue going up and down. And those are some of the like really basic linguistic features on top of the sort of extra singy-songiness, the extra brightness that comes from more of a cultural background. Yeah, let me know if you have dialect questions because I find this fascinating. And these are.
What do you think a linguist does to keep a job in Utah? Somebody like how many different people do they have around? Who's a linguist here?
Does that guy have a? Does he have a video like that about gay guys with a Femi accent?
What's the term for that? Isn't there some sort of term for it?
Fagginess?
Yeah, no, like that affectation.
That's, yeah, I don't know.
Fagosity.
Oh.
You uncultured swine.
I did have a friend who's like, he was gay, and I'd always say that, like, he was the B-2 stealth bomber of gayness because he didn't register on gaydar because he just talked like a regular guy. He just like dicks in his mouth. Like the only way you could tell he was gay is if you saw him with a dick in his mouth.
That was this guy that came to work. He's a real nice dude. Just like wears a ball cap. Wears a lot of camo usually. He looks just like an Idaho guy. He's big into racing cars. Like he has a stock car that he works on and he wins races all the time. And then when he was new, one of the guys came and was like, I found him on Facebook. He has a husband. And we're like, what? Jake has a husband? It's funny because we had 3 Jakes there. And one of them was like a little bit autistic almost. And he has this kind of weird Kermit the Frog voice. And he mentioned to me one time, like, yeah, we got a lot of Jakes here now. And I was like, yeah, we got to have different names for him, you know. We all know you as different names. He's like, oh, yeah, what are the names? It's like, well, we always call you Gay Jake. And he's like, why? It's like, because you're the gayest Jake out here. And he's like, well, one of the other Jake knits cat masks and sings show tunes, and the other one's married to a man. I was like, yeah, you're the gayest one.
Somehow you're still gayer.
I know. He's really.
Oh, that's mean. It's kind of like there's that whole funny gag on C-Lab 2021 where there's Debbie and Black Debbie, and there's a whole conversation like, how come she's not White Debbie? And obviously the idiot character is just like, I don't know, I don't remember exactly what he says. It is just funny though. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch C-Lab 2021. But yeah, like they just made 2 characters Debbie and just made Black Debbie. Oh yeah, sure, okay. That's how we refer to her.
Yeah. Born to dilly-dally, forced to fight fascists.
Yeah, sure. What do you mean by fight fascists? You posted a new fucking profile picture or something?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know what else. Remember what we're fighting for, boys. If we win someday, there could be a strip mall here and a bunch of ugly apartment complexes for foreigners. I don't know. I don't know that I have terrible much more to get to. Oh, home math. You want some home math?
That works for me because I was gonna bail at 10 again anyway, just because I didn't
You
sleep real
want
good
to
last
call
night.
it good? I might need to call it good early too because I've got to run to Moab tomorrow. Oh,
Moab. Are you taking the doggo?
No, he's got to stay home. The Sex and the City ladies are having a sexual relationship now with Rosie O'Donnell on the new season.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's gross.
Ew.
What?
Why? Isn't she in Ireland?
I thought so.
Yeah, I thought she hates America and left.
No, how dare you say that?
She did. She lives in Ireland. Or at least she said she did. I don't know. It's a conspiracy.
Let's
How
see.
come it's so easy for them to immigrate to other countries? I want to go live in the UK, but they won't let me.
But you tried to get it done?
No, actually, I am gonna get it done. Well, so that's the thing is Ireland is in the European Union, but still,
Just
when I get my
claim refugee status.
Yeah, an asylum seeker. Feminists all hate me. No, like God, I keep forgetting. Every time I mention it, I remember like, oh, I need to take care of that. But as soon as I get my Portuguese citizenship, I could, in principle, live and work in Ireland without restriction. I just don't know if there's any jobs there for me. But I want to immigrate to the UK, but because of fucking Brexit, that's things like I didn't have an opinion on Brexit until I wanted to move there, and then I'm like, well, God damn it. Because if I was Portuguese, I could just go there and be like, fuck you, you can't stop me. But now because of Brexit, they're like, fuck you, Portuguese guy. Like, we don't care what country you come from. Like, I'm like, what about America? Nope. Well, Brazil? Nope. Like, we won't take you no matter which passport you show us.
Yeah. Here we go.
Are going to help out real Americans, right? I'm going to stop you right there.
I bet you're wondering how America got here. Well, it all started with bird hands. That's right. America went straight down the tubes as soon as it started letting cranky, dissatisfied women from a 3 to a 6 make these naggy little henpeck gestures on TikTok. I know, it sounds crazy, but let's go back to the beginning. See, a long time ago, people used to understand that women were violent too. A man will just come out in the open and punch you in the nose, but women are small and weak, so they just lie about being victims until someone else does it for them. And that makes all the simps crawl out of the woodwork and do their bidding, like the bugs they are. We used to understand this, and nagging women used to get punished. For other stuff, too. This one's called the scold's bridle. It makes it so she can't talk. Pretty crazy, right? But nowadays, women can do whatever they want, whenever they want. And if you so much as point it out, guess what? You're the bad guy. Tell me that ain't crazy. What's all this got to do with bird hands? Everything. All right, that was fun. I finally got Ableton working again. Anyway, the Whatever podcast asked, why do they always do the hand thing, referring to this little henpeck gesture
that
that
shit
girls
is
have been
annoying.
making with their hands? And I thought I'd bring you the answer. Here it is. So the hand thing that the TikTok girls are doing is the hands are closed and pointed at you. And it means, you better listen to me. I am telling you. Me. This is what you believe now. Me. When you point it at yourself, you get the Italian, like the chef's kiss thing. Oh, I'm telling you, this is so... Look at what I did over here. I did that unconsciously. This is so good, you should try it. The hands closed over here are, I'm sure of what I'm saying, and I receive your needs. You should try this thing, that's great. This is also used in Italian arguments. I told you about that kid. What Trump does is the open hands, double open hands, and he moves them around a lot. I am listening to you. I understand your needs. When the hands are open towards yourself, it means listen to me. I'm begging you, listen to me. Almost like you're doing the open hands for the other person. You would never do this with that. You would never say, please listen to me. I'm begging you. You see how that doesn't match? So the hand signals they're not nothing. They're unconscious. Like if you just let your hands do what they want while you're talking, they'll sort of do some of the talking for you. So the fact that the TikTok girls are all doing this is a bad sign. It means they're at the end of their rope, in my opinion, and they're just going like, do what I want, So that's how women are doing, I guess. And yeah, it's always the women who are falling off the bottom first. It's the ones who are the most susceptible to social change. But these things always spread. They always spread throughout society. Like 20 years ago, everyone said, don't meet anybody from the internet. And now that's all we do. So this might follow a similar pattern. I read a little bit about body language on short form. It's a great resource to supplement whatever you're learning. You got to pay attention to what people are doing when they talk, and short form can help. Get 20% off with my link. This is my Who is a 10 chart. It explains why women who are not 10s are always saying they are. I also talked about this on the standard female delusion chart. This is how they talk in public. Everyone's perfect. And then this is how they talk in private. Them and their besties are way up at the top and everyone else is trash. It's a collective negotiation strategy. The way it works is that the mids and the sub-mids are always gassing each other up and excusing each other's behavior because that's the only way they can compete with the top women, who also have to pretend that everyone is beautiful or else they don't get to be in the little hand-holding group.
Gaslighting.
That usually doesn't really matter until they all work in human resources. When they're in a unified group, they control access to everything, especially when they convince the male mids to play along, like they're gonna get something for doing it. They never do. The reason this is so dangerous, and we used to throw rotten fruit at them for doing it, is that the hand-holding group only works when they lie. That's how you show loyalty to the group. You tell ridiculous lies, because the bigger the lie, the more you are proving that you'll say anything to be included. It's a token of submission. That's why it's so disgusting when men do it. And that's why everything is so upside down right now. Because when women get power, they don't just say, I'm better at your job than you, like a man would. It's usually not true, too. Instead, they say things like, babies can be pilots too. Because if that's true, then that means everyone should be accepted everywhere, even if they're not good enough. And by everywhere, they mean only the best places, which is the same thing as saying, I'm a 10. Do you see how it's all connected? Make a demand and then collectively lie to justify it. I'm a 10 means I am marriage material for anybody. I should get paid the same as someone who can actually do the job. It doesn't matter what I do, it matters what I get, even if I'm not earning it. And someone else can make up for what I'm not doing, even if he doesn't get anything. So then they vote to get, even if they're not earning it. And then when they're getting equal or greater, then they think they're better than you, which makes you icky. And then all the women are looking for a tiny few men, and then no one gets married and has kids, and everyone hates each other. That's why I want you to look for things like the bird hands. This is all about giving instructions. This is what we believe now. And they're trying to make you simp, and you can't do it because you lose. We all lose. Bird hands are a sign of desperation. You don't have to be forceful if you're actually in control. So when you see women doing this, they're saying, this is what you have to agree with, or you're not in the club. And you don't want to be in the club. Here's a preview from my new levels chart. This one's easier to read. Videos.
Yeah, it's just commercials from there on out. From there.
That guy's so good. I think like
that's dumb.
I had like it's one of those things where I didn't know it was a name and I didn't cognate it as a thing, but it's the instant I saw it, I was like, oh my god, I have experienced bird hands my entire life, and I immediately knew what that is. Like, oh, holy shit! But like, what's the word? When reified? That's not the right word. But like, yeah, it became something in my cognition that it wasn't there before. Oh, I know what it is. It's it's the Plinkett thing. You might not have noticed it, but your brain did.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty good one. Reified is generally like.
It's the same thing. We need to coin a phrase for the.
Oh, that thing.
That's always in conjunction with the bird hands. It's like, okay, man, what you need to understand is, and it's so condescending. It makes me, they say you should never hit a woman, and I wouldn't, but God. Oh God.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's tough judgment. Reification, that's the concept of like making something abstract, like real or something like that.
Yeah.
But when reification is used in like the Marxism term, it's like when they're saying like you you become reified as the job position that you have. So you're not Flip, you're a plumber, you're a booze guy, and as you're a booze guy, you're reified to become that person. And in Marxism, that's bad, getting reified as a worker in that way.
It's not like what's her name? Judith Butler's performativity.
Yeah, I guess that could be a type of it too. If you do it enough, you are it. Yeah, she basically thinks she can reify herself into the opposite, whatever the thing is. If it's the opposite, if it's even opposites, but yeah, Judith Butler is a little bit weird. Like nobody who runs around doing like the trans stuff really follows the Judith Butler stuff. Like the Judith Butler stuff, she still tries to hold on and claim to be a monist and not necessarily say that you're totally swapping sexes or any sort of thing like that. The performativity thing is kind of like a reification thing, and totally separate than what I guarantee you 99% of the trans people think they're doing. But it all works in academia. But anyway, I don't know. I might need to call it good to get ready for a trip that I have to go on. And
it's all good.
And you've almost got a baby coming out, right?
Yep.
What's the due date on that?
July 16th.
Oh. Man, that's how fast things are going. It's been that long since the Maven Morgan Marty meeting.
Yeah, I know. The my company actually changed their policy, and now I get 2 weeks of parental leave. So
wow, for paid?
Patriarchy.
Yeah, paid.
Wow.
Doesn't count against my PL or anything like that.
Do you?
You should just go on vacation. Just like, all right, later, honey. I'm going to Hawaii for 2 weeks.
And there was apparently some guy that was trying to like my boss is telling me, he's like, well, okay, the rule is you can only take it in like 1 week increments, and it's got to be within 6 months of the baby's birth. I guess they had a guy that was trying to take it like a day at a time and take long weekends to go ride dirt bikes and shit.
Well, if he takes his baby with him,
yeah, I know. Like, it's none of your fucking business.
Yeah, hey, that's bonding time.
You want to know what my new favorite troll thing to do is? Is that every now and then on the East Idaho News thing, like it's every couple months, they'll post something about a grizzly bear being killed because it got obsessed with human food, and then it would be around humans more, and that would probably kill a human. And the comment section is always full of people that are like pissed about that. For some, like we had to kill a grizzly because humans suck, and it's hilarious because first off, we have too many grizzlies here, but they like won't let us hunt them very much, and so I always get on there and like applaud it. We had one just today. My comment on it was, the only thing that I enjoy more than hearing about a grizzly being murked is coming to the comment section where people are somehow upset about it. Please do a pit bull story next. And I'm getting all these, you're ignorant. Thank your mama for raising a piece of shit.
Dude, I can't believe, I mean, I shouldn't say I can't believe, but like the backlash I got for making fun of NPR's How to Pee story today.
Oh man, that
Yeah,
guy
like,
was mad at you.
There's more. Like you saw that one guy. There's more. There's some lady now. Like, I mean, I'm already an incel for making that joke about like, because NPR literally had an article that was like instructions on how to pee for women, which is like, okay, like this is what I've been saying for a while now. NPR's news for babies, but here's whatever. But then like a lot of people are like, obviously you've never even met a woman or had sex with one. I'm like, all the women I've ever had sex with knew how to pee. I don't know what to tell you, lady. Like,
yeah, I know.
I don't like, and I don't know what the fuck NPR is doing with instructions on how to pee for women.
Like, do most women? Because they're making it sound like most women when they piss, they're like, I gotta just shotgun all of this out of me, and they just go, just in one big blast. It goes.
One of the things they said is like, don't hover. It's like,
hover.
I guess because they don't want their asses to touch the rim of the toilet seat. Like, fucking grow up. Jesus.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, I think it's worth a call on it. So,
All
thanks.
right.
Sorry, it's a short one, everybody. I got a million and one things to do, but
That's
only
okay with
and
me.
World War III didn't happen. I was counting on that.
I know. I want it. Why?
Yeah.
You cut out, Flip.
So if there is another world war, we can just send all the women because women can do anything men can do. They can fly the bombers. They can do the helicopter jumping out of the helicopters. We'll give them all guns and rockets and be like, "All right, ladies, show us how it's done."
Did you watch The Boys?
No.
Yeah, it's about to come out with the final season.
Yeah, I only watched the first 2 seasons. In season 2, it was funny though because they had this whole thing because like the actual superheroes will star in superhero movies about themselves, which would save a fortune on special effects, I guess. But they had their whole "Girls Get It Done" campaign, where they were like they were kind of making fun of the Avengers Endgame scene where all the women show up to support each other in that one cringe ass scene, and they're like, "Yeah, girls get it done," and it's like making fun of that pandering bullshit the whole time. And then in one of the ending scenes of that season, like 3 of the girls superheroes are kicking the shit, like working together to kick the shit out of the female villain. And like one of the male dudes is standing off to the side. He's like, "Man, girls do get it done." I was like, you guys, did you mean to become the thing you were making fun of? Like, that doesn't seem like it was ironic. So no, they actually do. No, this is cool now.
Yeah.
Glad you learned how to shit on people is what somebody just responded to me about that. I don't even get that one. Like, but okay, like, hey, when NPR comes out with an article about, well, this is how you poop on people, everybody. We're NPR now.
Just women. If it was men, it was like toxic men poop on people. What are they doing? But
All right.
Anyway, thanks for chilling, everybody.
Cool.
All right.
Later, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.